Hey guys, coming on here with a quick little video before I go back to watching AGT because that's been my addiction while I've been in the hospital. Heartland and America's Got Talent have been my entertainment. I've never really watched it beyond like clips on YouTube before, but AGT anyway. I've watched Heartland a lot, but I've been kind of addicted to it. So anyway, not what I was talking about. But the good news is I am leaving the hospital on Friday. I was trying to bargain to get them to let me out here today. Didn't go over so well. They wanted to keep me till the 21st, so we kind of came to a mutual agreement of meeting in the middle. So I'm leaving on Friday, which I'm very thankful for because it is 2 weeks here after Friday. This pillowcase drives me nuts half the time. Anyway, not what I wanted to talk about. Just a quick little video. I don't know if you guys saw the short that I uploaded last night. That took me 30. I don't know why TikToks make so long to make. It took me 30 minutes to make a 42-second video, but and it always happens with my TikToks. It just takes forever. But so 10 years ago was 2014, and this is kind of on my mind because we're coming up on my birthday, which if you guys don't know is July 22nd. And so I was thinking about how 10 years ago, in 2014, my CF was in a really bad way, especially entering into the fall, which, we're kind of coming towards that time of the year. My lung function was 30%. I was on and off oxygen constantly. I was in and out of the hospital constantly. And towards the fall/winter of 2014, where I actually ended up spending all of Christmas and the beginning of New Year's in the hospital, I was told that they thought that there was like this big meeting with a bunch of people that freaked me out. And I remember walking back to my room crying because they told me that they thought if my CF kept going in the way that it was going, I would either need a lung transplant or be dead within 2 years. And that was 10 years ago. So at the time I was 15. Or 16 actually, because it was the fall. So I was 16, and can you imagine being 16 and told that you have 2 years left to live? Like, you're gonna maybe make it to your 18th birthday, maybe not. It's a scary situation to be in. But that also is the reality that there's a lot of CFers that don't make it to their 18th birthday. So back then, that was my life, and the only way I can describe the next 10 years is God gave me a miracle. God gave me more life, more chance. Because I started steadily getting stronger. And not at first. At first, it was like I was going to CF clinic every single month because I was so ill. But then 2015 came Orkambi. A year after all that came Orkambi. And I don't know what would have happened if Orkambi didn't come in time, because Trikafta didn't come for me till 2020. So a year later came Orkambi, and that saved me. I truly believe it did. My lung function went up into the 60s. At one point it was 80, but then it settled around the high 70s, or low 70s, high 60s. I was not coughing as much. I still was coughing, but not as much. I had my life back, and then I just went on this thought process of just like, I'm gonna live life. And that's what that short was yesterday. And so, that saved me, that stabilized me. And in sort of some ways, it's almost hard for me to accept that saved me, but not others, because, Brooke, my best friend, I haven't talked about her in years because she's been gone for 6 years, so you may not know her, but Brooke was my best friend. She had CF. She lived in Tennessee. We never met in person, but, we talked every day. And she was on Orkambi, but it didn't work for her. So she passed away in 2018, the middle of 2018. And so it's hard to comprehend, why didn't it work for her? Why did it work for me? Why did it not work for her? And unfortunately, I just don't have the answers for that. And I never will, unfortunately. But I do wish. I never am not thinking about how lucky I am to be about to reach my 26th birthday, and almost a little bit of survivor's guilt too, when she just barely made it past her 22nd. So, it's hard thinking about that, but I try to live my life for her, because she told me numerous times, you're not allowed to give up if I'm gone. So I live my life carrying her with me, but I do wish it could have saved her too. So we go into, that kept me stable, but then I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but my lung function started declining again. It had stabilized there, and then it was in the 60s, and then it was in the 50s, and it was bouncing between the 50s and the 60s. And I did run the 5K. I think that was early 2019 when that happened. And then I started running, and that helped. And then I ran the 5K. And then 2020, as cuckoo of a year that was, Trikafta came along. It's been 4 years since then, and that is just hard to comprehend that I've been on Trikafta for 4 years, over 4 years. I started in January, I believe, or maybe early February. It was before the pandemic, I know that much. And yeah, so just to compare, 10 years ago, my lung function was 30%. 10 years later, with Trikafta, my lung function is 82%. I was on and off oxygen constantly. I've needed oxygen once since then. Once, when I had that anaphylactic reaction, which is not even really CF related. It was literally couldn't breathe because my throat was so swollen type thing. I've been on oxygen more than that, but I've only needed it once before. The other time I was on was when I was in the ICU, but that was for blood sugar, and that was more of just like I felt like I was going to pass out comfort thing more than I actually needed the oxygen. Now, the in and out of hospital, that's a whole different story, but it's also different because in and out, because my lungs were trying to say bye Felicia on me versus most of it was, I had the 3-year gap between whatever 3 years before 2018 and 2021, had this 3-year gap. And then I was in the hospital because of the reactive hypoglycemia, which put me in and out of hospital because it was harder. And then COVID in 2022 put me in and out of hospital. But I just went 6 months hospital free. And it's not my lungs more as it is blood sugar versus yes, I have recurrent pneumonia ever since I had COVID, but it's not as severe as it was back then. But I just also had 6 months, and I was just thinking about all the experiences I've had in the last 10 years that I could have missed out on. Graduation, that was technically in the 2-year mark, but it was May of 2016. There's no guarantee. Graduating high school, climbing Mayan ruins, holding a monkey, riding in a helicopter, riding horses, moving to Florida, meeting Winter the dolphin, going to Universal, just all these things. These big things, these little things, meeting my new friend that I have that I would have never met him. I would have barely known Brooke, actually. And, Blondie, all the horses down there, I would have never been with them or barely been with them. I would have never gone off to college, though it didn't pan out. I would have never had that month and a half at college. Just all these things that's just crazy to think about that, I'm so thankful. I'm just thankful. That's what I was thinking about last night and this morning. As hard as turning 26 is, because it brings with it insurance issues, I'm very thankful to be here 10 years later and 8 years later than I was supposed to be. So, I never forget about the people that weren't as fortunate that I knew personally, like Brooke, the people that kind of everybody knows about, like Claire Wineland, my other friend I have that has CF. He is on oxygen 24/7. He's stable, but he's on oxygen 24/7. And I always feel a little bit of guilt that, why am I healthier? But I don't have an answer to that. And I never forget those people that are not as fortunate, and I wish they could be. I wish every day that Brooke was still here. But it makes me be thankful for where I'm at and thankful to still be alive. So this is your little reminder, long-winded reminder to seize the day. Seize the day and never give up. And you never know. So just make the most out of life and make it beautiful. It's not always beautiful. It is hard. It's messy. I'm in a hospital right now. But just be thankful for every morning that you wake up.